Hey you guys, it's Dani and welcome to my spooky video. It's not that spooky. It's not that spooky around here. Not yet. Next year it will be very spooky. We have been fighting hurricanes this season, so I didn't get to really decorate for Samhain, so we'll save that for next time. But we're still gonna get spooky today because I want to share with you guys some of my favorite decks for Samhain. I have a few that I added to my collection this year that I have been absolutely loving, so I figure we will go over all of my creepy Halloween-y decks today. So let's go ahead and flip the top down and we will get right into it. Now that the scene has been set, let's go ahead and dive into our Halloween decks. So I'm going to start with Oracle because I don't really have that many. So I'm going to start with, to me, a classic. And that is Stacey DeMarco's Halloween Oracle. This is one that's obviously very specific. We have our, let's get closer. We have our Halloween-y backs, kind of childlike, if I'm being honest, the backs compared to what's on the fronts, right? These have really great keywords and really surprised me, honestly. I thought this was going to be super, like, commercial Halloween, pumpkins, bats, black cats everywhere, but they're really, really deep and really nice cards. Like invisibility, authenticity, death, the eternal cycle begins here. And of course we do have some like witch, zombie, werewolf, but still the witch isn't that bad. We just have some really great, see there's the werewolf. Like if I had to change cards, it would probably be these. But at the same time, around this time, it's really fun. And to be honest, there's so much to this deck, so much more than I ever expected, that this has been a staple on my altar for the past few years because of the depth that it holds. I keep it on there. I do my Samhain spreads. That's the accompaniment. I will pull like the whole, like I kind of do like a Samhain week where like I go, days before and about 1 or 2 days after for like All Souls Day and stuff, where I pull cards and I have stuff set up on my altar. So this is definitely a staple there. So we have the Halloween Oracle. Again, the backs don't quite match the fronts, but I'm not mad at it, you know? It's still fun. Oh, by the way, these have been altered. I cut all the big black borders off, so mine are way smaller. It's very much more handleable. I can handle them better. You know what I mean. So next is a new one to my collection, and one that I feel like I'm going to use all year long, and that is the Fantod Pack by Edward Gorey. These are so fun, and they're like funny as well. So kind of grab these. I feel like there's a lot of these that I might be modifying this year. Like this, I would love to round the corners because I've used them a few times and I don't know, I just feel like they could be rounded. But these are just a black and white deck. I've used them very Lenormand style because I feel like that's really what they add. Now, I do like them as accompaniments, right, to my spread. But I just thought it was super fun to do them kind of Lenormand style. Because in the, oh look, the effigy is right here. In the little white book, you get like the effigy, which is like for August, or a sexual problem. Yawns, rashness. There's just, they get really funny and really kind of like a crawling sickness. A generalized calamity. So they're like fun and funny, and they can also be used in a serious way. If you just, like, there's one, where's it at? Is it, oh, like the tunnel. Oh, I love the tunnel. But I feel like this is very Halloween-y. It brings the vibe, but again, something that I would use all year round. Y'all know I like that creepy stuff. So on to my last oracle. I know, only 3. Seems insane. But to be fair, there are 3 of these. And that is the Oracle of Oddities. So again, this is something I use all year round, but it definitely fits into this like Halloween vibe and Halloween feel. So they definitely come out around this time. So this set I will eventually condense down to 1. That's kind of my main plan, but I'm a super big nerd, and I'm like, but I want to know which one was in the first edition and which was in the second. So, like, I need to sit down and make myself a little chart before I combine them, because I'm just a huge nerd that way. So, of course, I haven't done that yet, so they're still separate. But these are all kind of the same vibe, where it's organs and bones and muscle mixed in with these beautiful botanicals and birds and butterflies, and I absolutely love it. Now, I mean, they may just look like, oh, that's just a bunch of bones and a bunch of, you know, flowers, but they really do take into consideration the keywords, right? Like air, it's a bone, but there's feathers and there's butterflies. Creation, it's kind of spewing out where the jaw is, which makes me think of like storytelling and writing and, you know, us telling our stories in general when we create something. So there was a lot of thought that went into it, even though at first glance it might just seem like some strange, macabre curiosity, right? So these are fantastic. So they did a really good job of, I'll show you the 3rd edition, of keeping everything fresh and new throughout all of these cards, right? I love these. There's a beginning and there's an end, and they kind of mirror each other. Where's the end? It must be in here. Right here. Beginning and ending. There's a lot of these. There's like the god and the goddess. Power and love kind of mirror each other. Reflect. Improv, I love that. So yeah, love mimics power, which is like the same idea, but with a brain inside. But love is one of those that repeat. And then there's chakras on this one. So I keep my chakras separate because I like to do specific work with those versus mixing them into my oracle. So I don't normally do that. But anyway, this is a great oracle. I use it all year round. I gush about it always. It's one of those that I keep like with the Earthbound Oracle, which I don't have because I don't really find that, you know, in the realm of Halloweenish. But these are definitely top. And this is by Chair. Oh my goodness. Claire. Good child. I really wanted to mix those 2 words together. Who also did one of the tarots. So let's move on to that, because her tarot is in here as well. Same little aspect, and that is the Antique Anatomy Tarot. Now, I got mine from the UK because it was a really great price. Under Modern Tarot Readers, but it's the same thing in the US. It's just branded under Antique Anatomy. So if you're looking for it, that's what it is. Also, underneath in the description, I'm going to have links to all these decks if they are in print. I think everything is going to be in print that I'm going to show today, possibly except for the Oracle of Oddities. I know those kind of go in and out sometimes. I was able to find mine on like an obscure website of someone who had them in stock in the US at their store. So I think maybe that would be the only ones that are going to be out of stock right now, so, or out of print. But this is the same exact style as the Oracle of Oddities. So we have our botanicals and our morbid curiosities, right? And I love the way that she did. It looks like a anatomy book. You know, the suit, coins, figure, knight. So I just love the way that it's done. Again, well thought out. These are just pips. So it's just a really fun deck that I use all the time, but it's great around spooky season. Oh my goodness. So when I was doing Mystic Masters and I was looking for all of my artwork, I actually came across the original picture of the Hermit here. Of course, it still had the candles, though she colored it, and there was a whole scene around it, but I did come across this exact etching. So I thought that that was really cool, going through all the stuff as I was making my deck, kind of seeing where some of our other favorites came from. So that was pretty awesome. And this is a bag that I made, if you're wondering. On to the next. So, let's see. I'll go to my other pip decks first. Let's do that. So up next is another kind of indie deck, which is the Wooden Tarot. Now this is by Andrew Liam Swartz. It's skullgarden.net. Again, all the links are going to be below, but you can see this is a well-worn one. And this one just brings an element of strangeness that I really love. It is very earthy, so I usually pull this out around Mabon. So that's still fall, right? But with all the eyes and just the unsettling strangeness of kind of what's going on along with the bones, I feel like this is a great one also for Halloween time. And of course we have bones, we have blooms, plumes, and stones, I believe it is. But I mean, even the flowers have eyes, you guys. It's just odd. It's like one of those things where you're looking at it and you're like, oh, this is normal, no big deal, right? Until you look closer and realize that there are 6 fingers instead of 5, or there are 4 eyes instead of 2. Like this, the gods are the aces. So again, it's like this really unsettling or strange vibe that just really, it gets me every time. And it feels very earthy to me. So I really like this kind of work around fall. So there is the Wooden Tarot. Okay, so what's up next? Yes, Le Tarot de Marseille par Polka. So I waited a long time for this one, you guys, because I decided to order it at the beginning of the pandemic. Now this one, I may be able to put a link to. The only thing about this one is it's from France. I know that it's still on Amazon France, but it's kind of hard to get in the US right now. But I believe it's still in print. So this is another one that's like, has that element of doom, even though it's like kind of fun and quirky images, they then get very macabre. There's the umbilical cord all over. But they're still, I don't know, they're still playful. And I just find them funny, if I'm being honest. I think they're like funny and macabre, and they do really well for, I like Halloween spreads, like just something kind of fun and playful. They work really well. I mean, they also read seriously, you know what I mean? It just depends on where your state of mind is. But I do love how playful they are while still being very strange. And the faces are so expressive. We have, like I said, some macabre scenes. But it's also done very beautifully in the sense that, I mean, look, he's trying to grab her. You can see her panties. It's crazy. But yeah, there's still an element of beauty in it. To me. But I just like jewel tones, so maybe that's what it is. I'm trying to justify my creepiness, okay? So yeah, this is Tarot de Marseille par Polka. It's a fun one. It is definitely a fun one. Like I said, I'll try to link this one. Like I said, I don't believe it's out of print, but it just might be more difficult to get in the States. Or at least it was for me. Up next is only a partial, we'll call it a partial pip. And that is the Nightmare Before Christmas Tarot. You guys, I had to do this year. I had to add this to my collection. As a kid, I was totally obsessed with the Nightmare Before Christmas. Like, I went see it in the theaters. I had the watch from, like, Burger King. I was obsessed. And I still am. I love Nightmare Before Christmas. I love Tim Burton's art style. And so when I found out that Abigail Larson was going to be the artist doing this deck, I freaked out. I was like, yes, it's a must for me. I love the black borders. I'm not even going to lie. I dig it. I love the scenes. Now, I'm usually not one to get so specific in my decks, but I feel like lately I've been adding decks like this to my collection because I love the depth that it brings. And it's one of those things where I've been getting for myself, right? Because a lot of times when I get a deck, of course I get it because I love the art, but I also think about, you know, how I'm going to use this professionally. So there is always kind of like a double meaning for me, or, you know, I kind of make sure that the things that I get are things that I'm going to use. And when it came to this, and like the movie tarot that I recently posted, I'll put a link to that, which was so fun. Things like this I've been getting because I like them. I'm like, these are going to be my tarot decks, right? That I'll maybe share on my Instagram or stuff like that, but like I'm going to use these. And I kind of equate it to the Game of Thrones deck because I know the characters, right? Knowing the characters just makes it's so much better. Like the devil, when I think about the devil, and I love the fact that it's Oogie Boogie because of what it's made of, right? Oogie Boogie is just this little bitty bug, right? That has grown into this monster and seems so much bigger, right? When you're in it and when you're facing him. But it's like when you break things down and pull the thread and realize that it's nothing but this small bug that can be squished. Like, I love it. Okay, I love it. And then we have the witches. I don't know. These are definitely to make me happy. Decks like these. So no regrets in the Nightmare Before Christmas coming into my collection this year. The Ace of Candles. And then there's going to be more. This was done by, oh my God, it's Minerva Segal. Is that how you say your last name? And I believe she's got some really great ones in the pipe as well along this storyline, movie line. So I'm excited about it. So that is the Nightmare Before Christmas. Definitely one that I'll bring out this time of year, but maybe even around Christmas time. You'll deserve some love from the Nightmare Before Christmas. Okay, so speaking of Abigail Larson, our next one is also her artwork, which is the Dark Wood Tarot. Her artwork just lends to the, I don't know, the creepy side, this dark fairy tale vibe with these vibrant reds, and just like her line work, there's something about her line work that gets me every time. These like kinky yet swirly images. I don't know, I'll call them like creepy ends. They have like the creepy ends that I really enjoy in Tim Burton's work. So, of course, that's why I thought it was just a perfect match for her other one. But this one I use all year round. I've been using it since I got it. Because it's a fairy tale vibe, right? But still has that Halloween feel because of all the tendril-esque. Oh. Y'all know it's not a video of mine if something's not upside down. Yes, we have all these like tendrils coming out. Ugh. I love it. I could show this whole deck, but I won't because I did already. Okay, I'll link that too. Oh, it's just so great. I love her artwork. But that pop of red, and then we have these like witchy vibes, of course, that just lend toward this time of year, and I adore it. Okay, so up next are, ooh, I know. Let's go with one that I added that was just fun. The Halloween Tarot. So I don't know. I didn't want to get this deck at first. I was like, no, it's too childish. It's too much for me. I'm just not going to use it. Again, thinking more professionally instead of personally. But I broke down and I got it this year because we've been through a pandemic and I wanted something fun. Damn it. I just broke down. Every time I look at it, I'm like, I'm really going to regret if I don't get this deck. I look at it every year and I'm like, should I? No. Should I? No. And this year I was just like, yes. Yes, you should. It was on sale. And it was just something fun and it made me smile. And I thought, why not? It is so Halloween-ish. Again, this is something that I would use for me because I just enjoy it. And it would be great to kind of play around with and have some just kind of fun, silly vibes around Halloween. And even mess around with them with my little girl. You know, like, oh, let's pull some cards. Let's have some fun. And have some spooky Halloween stuff going on, you know? Oh, this one always reminds me of Wednesday Addams. So yes, this is very like Halloween corporate world. Pumpkins, black cats, ghouls, and imps. But they are, I mean, it's just fun. It's just fun. So why not? I'm really glad that I added this year. I'm going to enjoy it until the end of Samhain for sure. So up next is another one that I obtained this year. Not really Halloween, but reminds me of the same vibe as the Halloween Tarot. And that is the Everyday Witch Tarot. I got the mini version because I just wasn't sure. I'll kind of hold them up here. Because it was very, again, very childlike in a way. And I'm saying that very lightly. I just mean the pointy hats and the striped stockings are just very like fairy tale witch in a children's book, you know? They're very, I guess that's what I mean. Like, it's what I imagine a good witch looking like in a children's book. And so I hesitated for quite a while. And that's why I got the mini, because I just wasn't sure. Like, I feel like it's a classic deck. It's like one of those decks where, even though I don't use it, I'd like it in the mini version just to say that I have a copy. Because it does kind of feel classic to me. I don't know why. It just does. So I went ahead and snagged this. I've actually used it a few times, and it's totally not bad. Again, this is one that I think I'll use for me when I do use it. Especially on my desk. Like, if I'm sitting at my desk and I'm doing just some spreads for myself, or just want to pull some quick cards, I have these available. They stay on my desk. So they're really good for that. But yeah, they're very storybook witch. But not bad. I really do like it more than I thought I would. And like I said, I keep it on my desk. So this does have Halloween vibes in that storybook way. Up next is the Shadowland Tarot. Can you see the vibe, right? With the Edward Gorey, the Nightmare Before Christmas. I just have this, like, I don't know, I have this thing about this kind of art. I just find it fun, and it captivated me when I was younger. But this one, in particular, you'll notice is in order, because I'm not convinced that I'm going to keep this deck. I've tried it a few times, and I've put it away back in its box, because I just wasn't sure. I grabbed this one a couple months ago, thinking that I would absolutely love it, because, I mean, it had everything that I was looking for. But I'm just not sure, you guys. I decided to give myself through Halloween to use it again and really decide, is this something that I like or not? And I will go from there and see if it's going to leave my collection after Halloween time, to see if I use it. It's got a really great guidebook. It is really fun images. I don't know what I was expecting, but maybe I just hyped myself up, and I don't know. I'm not sure. But some of it may have to do, if I'm being honest, I know this sounds so ridiculous. I hate this gold gilding. Sorry, I hate it. I don't think it matches, which is a big thing for me. I know that I can change this. I know that's just an aesthetic. I've heard people say if you kind of lightly sand, you can get the gilding off. And I mean, some of the gilding's already coming off, and I haven't used this that much. But it doesn't match. It doesn't go. In my opinion, this looks terrible. It was just a bad choice. Black would have been fine. Especially because we have these bright yellow backs. It just clashes. And I know that is so superficial and so dumb, but it does make a difference to me. So, I don't know. Like, the more I look at it, I'm like, but I really, like, I dig the art and it's fun, but I don't know if it's enough to keep it, especially now that I have the Nightmare Before Christmas tarot. I don't know. I'll give it a try and I'll see. And then if I decide, maybe I'll take that gold gilding off and try again. You know? This is one that I'm debating. We'll see how it goes this year. Up next, in the complicated bag, is Deviant Moon. I know you love it or you hate it, but here it is. I was on both sides, so I totally get it. I hated it for a while. I was like, there's no need for this. Everything about it is terrible. But that very quickly changed. The more I saw it, the more I was like, I really want to give it a try. It would be an easy one to rehome. And once I got it in my hands, I was like, this is not going anywhere. The path working that can be done with this deck is phenomenal. Because when you really stop and look at it and really put these cards together, they're characters in a specific setting that kind of flow through a scene. Like, you can create stories, whether you pull one card or, 3 cards or however many cards that can tell you a tale, right? You're in a desert. You're in this icy space, and then in this, seaside area. You go from industrial scenes to kind of church scenes to fields and interiors. I don't know. I really love the way that Patrick Valenza did this because of the storytelling and the pathworking that can be done. And sometimes, if I'm being honest, this has grown on me so much, I just crave the aesthetic, so I use it for the aesthetics as well. And this is the borderless edition. So we have, of course, the Deviant Moon. I love this one. Okay, so now on to our very last deck, and the most creepy, if you will, the most spooky, horrific deck of them all. We have the Hayworth Tarot. This is, oh my gosh. I use this all year round as well. I know that there's a story that goes with it if you listen to the podcast. I have not yet because I have been enjoying this, making my own stories with this deck from jump. It's kind of like the same way that I do with the Deviant Moon. This just, there's just a story to tell on every little page, and it is unsettling. It's got this like nuclear vibe. It reminds me of The Hills Have Eyes kind of horror. It is smart. It's clever. I absolutely adore this deck. This was sent to me by Dustin, and I've never been so excited in my whole life. It just works so well, and it's so creepy. It's so creepy. I love it. It's like worst nightmare for me. Yuck, centipedes. And yes, it's got some pretty intense images, but each of them have just such a fantastic story to tell, in my opinion. I know it's gory in some spaces, and it's creepy and weird and terrifying. It gives me Doctor Who vibes sometimes, but all in all, it's just a great deck to use for spooky time. So that's it, you guys. Those are my Halloween decks. So thank you guys for watching. Please leave me some comments. Let me know, what are your favorite decks to use this time of year? Do you use kind of theme decks, or do you just use, regular decks all year round? I say regular. They're all like regular. You know what I mean. Let me know. Let me know what your favorites to use around this time when the veil is thinning. It's like so aesthetic, right? Anyway, if you guys are looking for me, all my links are going to be down below. You'll find my Instagram, my Etsy, how to book a reading with me. We have 3 fat readers, and I have the link still. Mystic Masters is ready for pre-order until November 15th, so make sure that you check that out as well. The links are down below, and I will see you guys very soon. I am sending you all my love. Mwah! Later, Gators.